soul food, jazz, and blues. This is New Orleans, and this is my home. Well, not always. I was born on September 8th, 1954 in Tylertown, Mississippi, well before my family moved here in New Orleans. I lived on a farm where my parents and grandparents were sharecroppers. When I was 4 years old, my dad, Abon Bridges, and my mama, Lucille Bridges, moved to New Orleans hoping for a better life in a bigger city. Daddy got a job as a gas station attendant, and mama took night jobs to help support our family. You see, they worked to take care of my 2 little brothers and my little sister. I love New Orleans. It's filled with so many of my favorite things, especially the music and parades of Mardi Gras. So on this day, November 14, 1960, I was only 6. I was preparing for my first day at a new school. I didn't know much why I was changing schools. When I was in kindergarten at my school, which was all black, I was one of many students in New Orleans who were chosen to take a test. I also didn't really understand that it was to determine if I could or if I couldn't attend an all-white school. Folks would later tell me that the test was written to be very hard, so black students would have a hard time passing it. Some folk thought that if all the black children failed the test, New Orleans schools might be able to stay segregated for a while longer. My daddy didn't want me to take the test. My daddy was sure that if I passed the test and was allowed to go to a white school, there would be trouble. But mama believed that I would get a better education at a white school, and she convinced daddy to let me take it, and he did. Well, I passed it. I sure did. I was one of only 6 black students to pass the test. The school was only 5 blocks from my house. Before, I had to attend a school that was kind of far away because it was an all-black school. You know something else? I would be the only black student to attend the William Friend School near my home, and the first black child to attend an all-white elementary school in the South. Well, the new school year came, and I was still in my old school. The Louisiana State Legislature had found ways to block my integration of what would be my new school. After running out of options, the legislature had to accept change, and the schools were to be integrated that November. A federal judge requested that the U.S. government send federal marshals to New Orleans to protect us. I wasn't really sure of what I needed protecting from. So that morning, November 14, 1960, 4 great big white men showed up at our home. They were federal marshals. I remember my parents saying, "Ruby, you're going to a new school today, and you better behave." I grabbed my lunch pail that Mama fixed for me every day. Then Mama and I got into a car with the federal marshals, and they drove us 5 blocks to my new school. The ride was quiet. It seemed to take forever. I could tell that Mama was very nervous, yet she looked at me and she smiled. One of the marshals explained to us that when we arrived at the school, 2 of them would walk in front of us and 2 of them would walk behind us. Just as we approached the school, I wasn't sure of what I was seeing. I thought it was like a Mardi Gras celebration. There were so many people, all gathered in the front, but they were yelling and throwing things. There were barricades set up and policemen everywhere. I knew then this couldn't possibly be a celebration. Then I opened the door and all I could hear was chanting. It was loud and it was scary. I did as my mother once said. I kept my head up high and I kept moving. Mama kept encouraging me to stay strong and pray. And I did. And that gave me courage. I made it into the school with the protection of the federal marshals. As soon as I got inside, I was immediately escorted to the principal's office when I spent my whole entire day there. You see, there was so much chaos outside, and nearly all the white parents at the school immediately pulled their children out of the school. 500 children. So that meant there were no classes that day. Well, I had to do it again, all over the next day. And for a while, it looked like I was never going to be able to attend class until I finally had a teacher, Mrs. Barbara Henry. She agreed to teach me even though all the other teachers declined. Mrs. Henry was from Boston, and she was new to the school, and she was white. She greeted me with open arms. I was the only student in Mrs. Henry's class because parents pulled or threatened to pull their children from the class and send them to other schools. So for a whole year, my teacher and I sat side by side at 2 desks working on my schoolwork. Mrs. Henry, who didn't look like me. In fact, she looked more like the angry crowd outside of the school. Mrs. Henry was both loving and supportive of me. She not only helped me with my schoolwork, but also with the meanness surrounding me every day. I spent my entire day, every day, in Mrs. Henry's classroom. I couldn't go to the cafeteria or outside for recess with the other students. Even when I had to go to the restroom, the federal marshals walked me down the hall. I later found out that that same year, 3 other 6-year-old girls, Liana Tate, Tessie Prevost, and Gail Etienne, they called themselves the McDonald 3. They integrated an all-white school called McDonald Number 19. We all faced angry crowds, taunts, and ugly racial names each day at school. United States Marshals were required for them also. Can you believe that it took 10 more years for the New Orleans public school to fully integrate? Just think, 6-year-olds changed the whole country with courage and strength. And on those days, we didn't even know it. One of the marshals that protected me, Mr. Charles Burks, said I never cried or even whimpered. He said I just marched on like a little soldier. Can you believe it? A 6-year-old was able to change the world. I guess that goes to show us that no matter where you are, no matter how big or how small you may think you are, you can change the world for better. Don't follow the path, go where there is no path and begin the trail. When you start a new trail equipped with courage, strength, and conviction, the only thing that can stop you is you. You can be the change. You can be the light. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.